Hello there, and welcome to Alvarez's Diecast Customs. Now today we're going to be working on another subscriber recommendation. Blind Rabbit asked if I could use some automotive wax to increase the luster and shine on some of my cars. So this is what we're going to be doing with this one. As you may remember, this was the first ever video I ever did for this, and this was a Hot Wheels Ford Mustang Shelby Cobra. Wasn't too happy with how it came out in the end with the paints that I used. I used a Tamiya primer with some Tamiya red and a Tamiya clear gloss over the top, but the clear gloss reacted with the red paint. So we'll just take a closer look. Yeah, as you can see, the Tamiya gloss reacted with the paint, making it quite orange peely, and it also pulled the red paint away from the panel lines, so they come up like really bright white, so you could see the old primer underneath. So yeah, just wasn't happy with it. And for my first car, I wasn't really sure what to do with it, so I just went ahead and left it as it is. Now that I've picked up a few more skills along the way, I'm going to start changing some things up on it. The wheels I painted up originally, they're quite nice. I won't be using them with this, so I'll do a wheel swap. The base I'll keep as it is. The interior, not really feeling the black for this, so I may go about painting that. The window piece, keep that as it is. And there's that body. Did some details on it originally using the chrome pen. So we'll just go on about stripping it off. There's my potted paint stripper. The remnants of sacrifices in there, and another one to the pot. Pop that in there, give it a good shake. I'll leave it for around 30 minutes. And after that, I just drop the car out into the sink and run it under a tap and use an old toothbrush to scrape off the paint. So we're just going to go see our goddess Risty and see if she's got some new wheels for us today. So I'll be handing her these ones. They're quite nice, just not really what I want for it. So we'll go about getting some new ones. Now, what's that? Nice. Let's take a closer look at these. There's a couple of real riders there. I'm liking them with the white line around the edge of the tires there. It's pretty cool looking. Thanks for that. So here's the body after a bit of stripping and cleaning up. You can see it leaves it quite chalky look to it, but I'm going to leave that as it is because it's a good indication of sanding it down, because I noticed there were some pits in the metal which I didn't pick up originally. So I'm just going to go about using this very fine grit sandpaper and just work some of those little pits out of the metal there. There it is. I've gone over the entire thing, working it in, smoothing it over. Worked out a lot of those pits now. Just go about cleaning that up, and then I will paint it with a rattle can primer from Halfords. Here's what we're left with. I also did the interior as well, because I will be painting that again. So just hitting it with the primer makes it a lot easier to paint on top of. Now initially with the primer sprays, they can be quite sort of matte, rough finish to them. So in order to get my best finish on my paint here, I'm just going to be going around the entire body with this cloth and just buffing the primer down. As you can see, it sort of buffs it up a little bit, smooths it over. There it is, gone over the whole thing. You can see a bit of a sheen to it now. Really smoothed it down. Just going to see if this helps to get the paint to go on. There we go, I've painted it already. I used a rattle can with some Magnum Grey. Thought that looked pretty cool for it. Straight out of a rattle can, this one. Once again, as always. And there's our wheels. May have to tone that chrome on them down a little bit, so we'll probably go over those with a matte coat at some point later on. There's our base. Just going to test for everything. just to see where I'm going with it. The wheels are thankfully a direct fit for this, so no axle tubing involved. Yeah, quite happy with how that's looking so far. Can go on about detailing this body. Be using some Revell aluminium brush paints. Just going to pick out some of the details on the front and the rear here. So I'll just go over the headlights. Also going to be doing the door handles as well. And the rear tail lights and bumpers as well. Need quite a steady hand with this because they're not very well defined. Easily sort of work the brush around and just keep a sharp line to everything as best you can. Especially on the bumper, it's just sort of as like a slight crease to where it is on there. Now with the interior, decided to paint it red. This is also a nod towards the original colour of the car, but also I was watching Jim Silver's Bone Shaker video a while ago, the hearse one, where he did the whole car in black, but then he did the interior in red. And I just really liked how the red interior popped with the black. It just looks so good. So I thought I'd take a bit of inspiration from him for that. Now with the rear tail lights, I'll just be going over those with some Tamiya clear red. And there we go, that's that done. I'm also just going to be doing some extra details with the chrome pen, going around the window sills with it. It really helps to break up that grey paint. It does look a bit sort of monotonous and loses a bit of detail when you go with the one colour, but doing a bit of chrome pen on the windows and little extra bits really adds to the detail with it. Breaks it all up a bit. And just going around the windows. I like to use the helping hands for this, so I don't get my fingers all in the chrome pen. Now with the body, I've gone over already with a clear coat and let that dry. I'm going to be wet sanding it in the hope that wet sanding and then doing a polish afterwards will bring out a really good shine. Because generally with the clear coats you get a slight sort of rippling with them when you spray them neat out of the can. I'm just going to see if I can work that down using my finest grip for the wet sand in here and not applying much pressure at all, just letting the sponge do its work. You don't want to force it in because you really got to watch out for the edges on these. You don't want to burn through the paint and into the metal. So yeah, just working around it very easily, taking my time, trying not to work it into the edges too much. As you can see, I've really smoothed down some of the areas now. You can see they're matted down where I've wet sanded them. Gone around the entire thing as best I could without removing any of the paint on the edges. So now we can go about polishing it down now. I've got this wire, it's not a wire wheel, is it? It's a cotton wheel to polish it up, and I'm using my usual real car polish that I use on my real car. It's a sort of resin wax based one, so I'll be just trying that out on it first of all. Have the wheel at a relatively slow speed and keep it moving. Really don't hold it in place because it will burn through the paint. So yeah, just working it around, keeping it moving. That's about done. Give that a good clean with a microfiber cloth and then we can go about building it up. There's our window piece. As I said, didn't touch that one at all, just left it as it is from my original custom on this car. There's that interior piece. I gave that a known oil wash from Citadel and then went over the seats in a clear gloss as well, just to bring out a bit of detail with the leather. There's those wheels. As I said, I went over the rims on these with a matte coat. As you can see, it dulls the chrome down slightly because it was quite intense. Much more pleasing look to them now. There's our base. Didn't touch that at all, left as it is because I was quite happy with how that turned out originally. Just using my 5mm self-tapping screws that I always use for the cars to hold them together. Put those straight back in. So before I reveal it, let's take a look at what we started with. As it was an okay car, just really let down by the poor paint that I had with the reaction it had with itself. I've stopped using Tamiya paints ever since this because I was just so annoyed with how it turned out. So let's take a look at what we ended up with. Quite a cool looking Mustang now. Really like the grey on this. It's kind of a nod towards the Eleanor from Gone in 60 Seconds car, just without the black stripe down the centre of the body. And the red interior really makes it pop. Let's just take a closer look at him here. Let's see how this polishing turned out for this paint. The roof is incredibly smooth and shiny. Not a blemish on that bit at all. So perfectly smooth. Most of the other areas of the body are pretty damn good too. But to be honest, I probably picked the worst kind of car for this because there's not a lot of flat, smooth areas on it. So getting into the details of it was very difficult with the wet sponge and polishing it up. So yeah, I did my best, but really ought to have picked a better car with larger sort of flat panels to it. There's that lovely interior. Jim Silver was onto a winner with that red paint for that. There's those little extra details there on the rear. As you can see, I did go over some areas with the known oil wash. So in just a comparison, here's my second ever car I made for the channel, which was this Dodge Charger. And this was the clear gloss shot straight out of the can, and that was it. I didn't polish it, did do nothing to this afterwards. As a comparison, this is how the paint turns out as it is from the can, with the right preparation on the body. So to be honest, with how shiny this Dodge is, not sure if I've really achieved much with the Mustang. Kind of feel that kind of attempt at polishing it up and sanding it down would work better on a much larger scale car. These cars are just too small. You risk burning through the paint. There's some extra close-ups of it. As you will see as well, I actually went through all the panel lines on this one with the Known Oil to really sort of bring a bit of lines and depth out on them. Quite a nice effect to that, I think. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I think that might have been a fail in the end of it, to be honest. So we've gone to see our goddess Risty and see what she's got for us next time. Ah, the heck is that? Nice. Let's take a closer look at that. That's a Volkswagen panel van. It's been stripped already, which is quite handy. Nice. Look what we can do with this. Thanks for that. So this has been Alvarez's Diecast Customs. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.